So there's East Palestine, Ohio, and everybody pretty much knows what happened there. And it was basically a train derailment, and then the response caused them to set the liquid on fire that was leaking out of one of the trailers, and that caused people to evacuate. So when emergencies happen, you need a plan. Would you have been ready for East Palestine if it happened? It's not as rare as you think it is. There are 3.1 train derailments a year in the or a day. I'm sorry, 3.1 train derailments per day in the United States. And a lot of these carry toxic chemicals and something you don't want to be anywhere near if it goes up. Also, that's just one type of just chemical disaster. There are a lot of chemical disasters. I'm going to put a picture up on the screen here that's going to show you all of the chemical incidents in the United States since 2020 that caused an evacuation. So as you can see, this isn't as rare or far-fetched as we're talking about. I'm not talking about doomsday prepping here. I'm not talking about long-term bug outs or any of that. What I'm talking about is developing a plan for when something happens. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a chemical spill. I'm using that as the catalyst, but you know that things happen that can cause you to leave your home for a few days or something like that. So when disaster shows up on your doorstep, you're not scrambling. Okay, so when we talk about a plan, this is very simple, and so many people don't do it. And I know a lot of people don't do it, and a lot of people are like, well, nothing is ever going to happen, or I'm just going to get in my car and drive. Okay, what if you have to leave for a week or 2 weeks or something like that, and you haven't planned for this? So just a very simple straw man plan that you can fill in as you go or whatever, but as time permits, you should develop this a little bit. But in the very beginning, let's talk about step one. Decide where you're going to go. You should have some different destinations at in different directions at different distances away from your home, because you don't know what direction the wind's going to be blowing, if it happens to be something that's going to cause smoke or some sort of a toxic plume, something of that nature. You don't know. So when it happens, you don't want to be driving in a direction where you're going to get this toxic plume on top of you again and have to move again. So pick different directions and different distances. Now, I'm not talking about planning to rough it in the woods here. I'm talking about, hotels, motels, whatever your choice is. If you want to go rough it in the woods, by all means. I mean, most of my plans include that, but that's just me. I think that everybody has their own level of comfort and their own level of fitness, and they're going to work within that. So one thing about picking your hotels, if that's your choice, you have to make sure, if you have pets, make sure they're pet friendly. Just pick up the phone and call them and ask, are they pet friendly? Also, you're going to have to just make accommodations, which are not near something like a big event venue or sports stadiums, because you don't know when this is going to happen. So you don't know if you're going to be able to plan or you're going to be able to do this when there's a big conference in town or a big convention or a football game or something like that. I've had to, when I'm traveling, I go to a hotel that I hadn't planned on staying in, because of weather or whatever, the plane got grounded, and the rooms are full because of a convention. Well, that's a problem. Now I'm sleeping in the airport. Well, that's not pleasant, trust me. Okay, so food and water, depending on your route, there may or may not be restaurants on the way. I know that, like, if I leave here to go do a consulting somewhere in Kansas City, there aren't a whole lot of food options for me. Unless I want to eat junk food, there are a couple of towns where, where I can stop and get a Big Mac or something like that. But you want to plan for that, because you just don't know. It is like a road trip, so make sure that you plan to have snacks and maybe sandwiches or something like that in the car. And typically when we're talking about this type of thing, you have some time to get ready, a half an hour, or maybe one person is packing the bag and one person is making lunch for the road. And make sure that you have enough water. You've got to have water. Keep water in your car, or keep maybe even just a case or two of drinking water that goes into your plan, that goes in the car or in the trunk of the car, something like that, before you go. So you're basically treating it like any other road trip, because this should not be a panicked thing. You're slow is smooth and smooth is fast. So take your time to get this right. Now, have a bag ready to be packed. I'm not saying to keep your bags packed or anything like that. Just have it ready, somewhere where you can find it. I don't know if it can fit under your bed or in a closet or something like that, but just have it somewhere ready. And it can be, heck, it can be a 5-gallon bucket. It can be a laundry bag. It can be a suitcase. Doesn't matter. It has to fit your stuff, and you're planning to be gone for, say, a week. So what would you plan if you were going on a week cruise or a week vacation? Now, in this bag, I highly suggest that you have a checklist. And this is a pre-planned checklist. It's something that you've thought about, and go ahead and put down a list of things that you can just check off as you get them and pack them in your bag. That way you're not forgetting something crucially important. Like on your checklist, you have prescription medication and, but if you didn't have that on there, it doesn't end up in the bag. Now you're out of town or away from home and you don't have your meds. And that could be a problem for some. If you have refrigerated medications, everybody has one of those little like insulated lunch boxes, just little. Just put it in there with some frozen peas or the ice packets, whatever you have. It'll be fine. My wife is a type 1 diabetic, and the type 1 is insulin dependent, and insulin needs to be refrigerated. So we keep her, when we have to go, our plan is to put it in just in a lunchbox, just between what we would normally have, which would be, the little ice packs and whatever we have. It may very well be frozen peas if the ice packs happen to be thawed out or something like that. But just think about that. It's your checklist. You probably don't need to buy anything special for this. You just need to be ready. If you have a pre-planned checklist and these things together, you know where to find your bag. You know that somebody's going to be getting the food together. You know where you're going to go. You're going to be worlds ahead. So if you're getting value from this video or this series of videos, I'd really appreciate it if you would give it a thumbs up, and that really helps with the algorithm to get it to push out to a broader audience. And that's important for other people that need to get this kind of information that maybe didn't think about this before. And also, I would really appreciate it if you would comment things that might go into your checklist that others might not think about. My checklist is pretty in-depth. I've been doing this for a long time. I don't even really think about it anymore, except when we change the time. When the time changes back and the time changes forward, I go look at that checklist real quick and see if there's anything that needs to be adjusted, because, you know, our needs may evolve a little bit. Keep your car ready. Just keep your gas tank at least a half a tank full, especially in the winter. Because you may want to get farther than 150 miles before you have to stop for gas. Or maybe something's happening and the gas stations are going to be closed. I don't know what your situation is, nor do I know your route. So just keep that in mind. Other than that, normal routine maintenance on your car, and you'll be just fine. Nothing to worry about. Now, I want to mention this video isn't intended to scare anybody. It's intended to teach you how to start planning contingencies and give you a leg up on the less prepared. Planning gives you time, and time gives you options. So, you know, you may be well on the way to executing your plan. You're down the road. You're getting to a hotel long before less prepared people. That gives you a higher probability that there's going to actually be a hotel room for you when you get there. So, consider giving this video a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed yet, please do so. Okay, everybody, that's all I got for today. Stay safe.